to call up Samantha Langman of the Vermont Relief Collective and also a member of our steering committee to introduce our first storyteller.
Hi everyone. So like Jake said, I'm going to introduce our first speaker today. Her name is Thelma Gómez. And Thelma is a farm worker, activist, and organizer with Migrant Justice. She came to Vermont from Tabasco, Mexico, as a teenager to work on a dairy farm. And in her story, we're going to hear about how she transformed into a leader and organizer with Migrant Justice, and her efforts to support workers fighting for human rights and economic justice. And her story today is going to be translated as well by Will Lambeck. So, Thelma.
Hola, hola a todos, ¿cómo están?
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Pues muchas gracias por invitarnos a contar parte de mi historia. Es un placer poder estar aquí y representar también a mi comunidad migrante.
Thank you very much for inviting us here so I can tell part of my story. And I am here not only for myself, but representing my community, the immigrant community.
Entonces, con eso comienzo presentándome. Ya vieron un poco de mi introducción. Soy mexicana. Llegué a Vermont cuando tenía 16 años.
So I want to start by introducing myself, and you heard a little bit about me already, but I'm from Mexico. I came to the state of Vermont when I was 16 years old.
Recuerdo, bueno, mis padres, mi familia es agricultora en Tabasco, o fue agricultora por mucho tiempo en Tabasco. Nosotros cosechábamos almigas, pero después las empresas de petróleo pasaron contaminando nuestras tierras y nos obligaron a mi padre y a mí a tener que emigrar. Entonces a los 16 años yo llegué al estado de Vermont pues para sacar a mi familia adelante.
And I come from the state of Tabasco in Mexico. And my family there are farmers, or I should say, were farmers. When I was growing up, my family dedicated themselves to growing and harvesting watermelons. But the petroleum company, Pemex, came to our area and contaminated our lands, and so we were unable to continue farming. And that obligated us to move so that we could continue to make a living and search for a better life. And that's why when I was 16 years old, I followed my family to Vermont.
Entonces, llegué a Vermont siendo muy joven, justo en noviembre, 11 años atrás, sin conocer el idioma, sin conocer a nadie. Llegué directamente a trabajar en un rancho lechero en el área de Addison.
And so I came to Vermont when I was very young, 11 years ago in November, just became 11 years. And I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything. I didn't have any frame of reference when I got here, and as soon as I arrived to Vermont, I started working on a dairy farm.
En mi experiencia, pues siendo mujer y siendo joven y sin el idioma, sentía muchas barreras. Y más allá del idioma, sentía que llegar a trabajar, no tenía familia ni conocidos, solo mi padre, pero mi padre trabajaba también. Entonces, recuerdo que llegué en un rancho donde pues yo estaba emocionada, era mi primer trabajo, donde iba a poder apoyar a mi familia, porque esa era la idea por la cual pues había venido.
And when I got here, my dad was the only person I knew, but he was working as well, so he couldn't take care of me, and I just had to start learning on the job. I was excited my first day of work because it was something new. I was trying, it was my first day working, and I knew, okay, I'm going to be able to start supporting my family as well, and that was exciting to me.
Recuerdo que empecé a trabajar, empecé a ver cómo mis compañeros hacían el trabajo en las lecherías, un trabajo muy pesado, 16 a 14 horas diarias. No sabía ni cuánto me iban a pagar, ni cómo eran las condiciones, solamente me dijeron, ve a trabajar, otro compañero ves cómo lo hace y tú lo empiezas a hacer.
And so I started working, just learning from my coworkers. It was really difficult work. I was working 14 to 16-hour shifts. And the owners just said, follow along, see what the other people are doing, and learn from them. I didn't have any employment contract. I didn't know how much I would be making, any idea about benefits. I just started to do the job as best I could.
Recuerdo que mi primer cheque estaba yo tan emocionado por recibirlo. Y esa es una historia que siempre cuento, porque pues ha sido parte de cómo yo me he involucrado y cómo mi comunidad, ¿verdad?, ha sido como despertarlo.
And I remember coming up on the first payday, and I was really excited to get my first check. And this is something that stayed with me ever since this day, because it's key to how I began to develop my own consciousness and begin organizing with my community.
Recuerdo que ese día quien era mi jefe me dijo, tú no vas a recibir un pago porque eres mujer y porque te estoy haciendo un favor en dejarte vivir en mi casa, y como tú estás con tu papá, entonces yo era la única que trabajaba para poder vivir ahí. Nadie de mis compañeros lo hacía.
And so on that payday, when we were all lining up to get our checks, everybody got one but me. And the boss told me, no, you aren't getting paid here because you're a woman, and I'm doing you a favor by letting you live in this house and be with your father, and so you aren't going to get paid for working.
Recuerdo que, pues, entre lo que yo entendía como trabajadora migrante y como mujer, sentía que estaba muy normalizado el que nosotras pues tuviéramos que aguantar este tipo de tratos. Y yo sentía que no podía decir nada en ese momento por el hecho de ir llegando, y mi estatus también sentía que era una limitación para mí.
And when I heard that, I made an assumption that this was normal, and that's just the way things were. I thought because I'm young, because I'm a woman, because of my immigration status, I just came to this country, this must be how things work here. And so I didn't speak up, I didn't say anything when that happened.
Recuerdo que un día, organizadores de justicia migrante en ese momento, me invitaron a una asamblea. Y yo decía, ¿qué es eso? Y decía, no, podemos hablar de los derechos que tienen, de cómo nos vamos a organizar. Y yo decía, más allá de que hablen, yo quiero ir a comer comida mexicana y quiero ir a conocer a más compañeras y compañeros porque no conozco a nadie aquí.
But soon after that, I was visited on my farm by two organizers from Migrant Justice, who came and spoke to me and invited me to a community farm worker assembly. And they said, come to this assembly, we're going to be talking about human rights and how to organize and protect them. And those words didn't really mean anything to me, but what I did hear was that there was going to be Mexican food and there was going to be other people from my country that I could speak with. So I said, sure, I'll come.
Recuerdo que más allá de comer riquísimo y de conocer a tanta gente de México, recuerdo muy bien que mientras mis compañeros hablaban, dijeron algo muy importante, y esto fue una antes y un después para mí, porque dijeron, no importa de dónde vengas, ni de qué parte del mundo seas, tú tienes derechos. Hay algo que se llama derechos humanos, y vamos a aprender juntos cómo defenderlos. Ese día, yo desperté de un sueño en el que sentía que estaba por mucho tiempo.
But when I got there and people started speaking, the words that they spoke imprinted on me, and I remember them today. They said, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter from what part of the world you come from, we all have human rights. And we're going to talk about how to organize together to defend those rights. And hearing those words, it was like I woke up from a nightmare. This slumber that I had been in my whole life, I woke up. And I'm still awake today.
Y después de eso, yo me volví parte de justicia migrante. Intenté involucrarme en ser parte del liderazgo, alzar la voz de mis compañeros, ¿verdad? Que muchas veces sentían que por miedo o por represalias no podían hablar. Y por más de una década hemos estado organizando de esta manera la comunidad migrante, con campañas que han ayudado a que nosotros pues estemos saliendo de lo que nosotros llamamos las sombras.
And from that point forward, I became involved as a member and later as a leader in this organization, and began talking with other young workers who were in the same position as I was, who felt fear about speaking up, who were scared about retaliation, what could happen to them if they raised their own voices. And we began to organize together, and over the last decade, we've been able to build power as a community to come out of the shadows.
Hemos tenido campañas muy importantes, licencias de conducir sin importar tu estatus, no más Polimigra, la policía y la migra no pueden colaborar juntos, y también Leche con Dignidad, que ha sido parte importante para transformar las áreas de trabajo.
And we've had many important and successful campaigns over that past decade. We've changed the law allowing access to driver's licenses to all Vermont residents regardless of immigration status. We've written and implemented policies to ensure that local and state police don't collaborate with federal immigration agents and aren't in the business of deportation. And we built a program and implemented it in the dairy industry called Milk with Dignity.
Ha sido importante cómo a través de los años mi comunidad y yo juntos hemos hecho tanto trabajo para que también los sistemas de comida hayan cambiado, para que hayamos transformado esto que por mucho tiempo ha sido pues un poco ignorado, la labor que estamos haciendo, ¿verdad? Porque es importante reconocer quiénes están detrás de las lecherías ordeñando las vacas, y como dice Víctor, pues las vacas no se ordeñan solas, y nosotros hemos estado ahí por muchos años, y hasta ahora es que se ha escuchado más que nunca la voz de mi comunidad.
And through those years, we've been able to transform the food systems in our state. To take a system that had ignored workers, had written out of the story the human beings who were behind the production of food, and to write us into the center of that story. I have a friend, Victor Diaz, who has a saying, "The cows don't milk themselves." And through the work of Migrant Justice, we've been able to project that message throughout the state and beyond, so that the people who are in the parlors milking the cows are recognized for the essential role that we have in the food system.
La industria lechera no puede ser sostenible bajo la explotación de nuestra labor, bajo la mano de obra mal pagada, bajo los abusos a diarios que viven ahí. Es por eso que me alegra poder estar aquí, poder compartir un poco del trabajo que hacemos, pero también de mi experiencia, cómo ha sido involucrarme y cómo ha sido parte de mi liderazgo, poder traer mi voz y mi experiencia como trabajadora y como migrante y como mujer.
Because we can't talk about a sustainable dairy industry that exploits labor, that abuses workers, that violates our human rights. And that's why I'm so proud to be here on the stage with you all today to talk about the transformation that I've had as an individual and the transformation that my community has had to organize ourselves to make this statement and make sure that we are recognized.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.